The auction here for number 20 Farnham Avenue in Waverley. Like I said, my name is Danny Young and I'm proudly to be auctioneer this morning and also assist you with your purchase. You've met Cristine Jones and Tracy Tsang. Also we've got Peter doing the check-in and all the housekeeping here. But more importantly, they are here to help you with your competition here today for the ownership of this lovely property on Farnham Avenue. Now, a few things before we kick off. Let me just quickly draw attention to the contract sale, which has been made available to you prior to today's auction. On display for the last 30 minutes, a very straightforward auction contract. There's no difference compared to the others that we use in the state of Victoria for residential property auctions. Two parts of the contract form the framework of your competition here today, the particular sale, and then the vendor statement, which is more commonly known as a Section 32 document that contains all the relevant information you need to know in terms of becoming a new owner of this property here. The DQ sale reasons follow. The marketing agent for our owner here today is Rebuy Real Estate, and the property will sell. He's commonly known to you and I, your postman and your Uber Eats delivery driver as number 20 Farnham Avenue here in Waverley, inclusive in today's sale, all fixed floor coverings, light fittings, window furnishings, everything that's in a permanent nature. As inspected, the owner will guarantee the same condition will be delivered in the agreed settlement terms, which I'll go in a few moments' time. Now, we sell under the auction conditions today, so ladies and gentlemen, 10% deposit is what we need from you if you are successful upon signing the contract sale. What we need from you is $20,000 deposit transferred to our trust account. If you do choose the way of EFT, of course, we do accept a personal check, all counter checks, all bank checks, if you have prepared that, and the balance is to be paid the next business date, which is next Monday, the 15th of November. Settlement is very flexible, 30 to 60 days time. Of course, unless you made other arrangements with the marketing team before the commence of today's auction. Now, as auctioneer, it's my duty and responsibility to ensure today's auction is conducted in accordance with the rules that set out in the Settlement Regulations 2014 Schedule 1 or any additional conditions that's made available for inspection prior to today's auction. The rules prohibits making a false bid, prohibits the bidder to prevent other bidders from bidding, and major interruptions by bidders during the course of the auction, and there are fines for these conducts. Bidders will be indicated upon request by me as the auctioneer, and also the rules permits vendor bids. The terms I will use to indicate a bid I'm making on behalf of the vendor will be simply vendor bid, and by law, only I as the auctioneer here today can make a vendor bid, and most importantly, bias. The next two rules, they are crucial for your success here, so please pay particular attention. 1. By law, as the auctioneer, I cannot accept any bids or offers that's made after I declare the property sold. So before I knock it down to the successful purchaser here today, I'll simply call it out 3 times, like so. First call, second call, third and final call, and once the property has been knocked down, I can't take any more bids. And lastly, our owner has a reserve price. In the event, if we fall short of that reserve, by law, only I as the auctioneer here today, it's easy to get distracted once you're indoor, but that's a good thing. That give you an idea how big this lounge room is. The last rule, very important. Doesn't matter if we reach the vendor's reserve, I don't think that will happen, but if that happens, the very crucial position for you to be is to have that last bid held by you, because by law only the last bidder will have that first opportunity to buy this property at our owner's reserve. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to number 20 Farnham Avenue here in Waverley. What a dreadful weather. I know. You never know what Melbourne weather can bring you, but imagine this. At this very hour, 11 past 10 next Saturday, instead of cramping to another lounge room or some properties here in Waverley, Waverley or Mulgrave, anywhere in Melbourne, you could have enjoyed this very hour. Sitting down, enjoying a cup of coffee in your favourite cafe or restaurant, or simply walk your dog in a park and doing whatever you want to do because you've bought your Saturday back today on the 13th of November. It's time to end your house hunting. Because this property right here, and you've chosen to be here today in this dreadful weather because you know this is an opportunity, a property you want to call home or add to your investment portfolio. It is simply an opportunity too good to miss out. 3 bedrooms, and the hallway separating your living quarter and your entertainment, just like I said, It's good to have inside to give you this is the best time for you to figure out what kind of a living space you are purchasing here today. The transformer indoor and outdoor, we can all appreciate what a wonderful job our owner has done to present this home, to show the best aspect of this family home. And they have been calling it family home for the last many years. Now it's ready to move on. And in terms of location, you can't find anything better in this particular part of Wheatlersfield. Farnham a primary school, literally just around the corner. Probably 50 metres up the road, there's the Lum Reserve. Playground, tennis courts, of course, Brandon Park Shopping Centre. We are in between Glen, Waverley and Springvale, two most popular cosmopolitan centre in the southeast corridor. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, you know it already. You've done your research. That's why you are here. I won't hold you any longer. Where do we see a fair, reasonable, even-handed start? In your hands now. By the way, that's the cue for you to start playing a bit. We have an indicated selling range of 1.190 to 1.25. I don't want to start a bit lower than that. In your hands, ladies and gentlemen. You called out the bids. You are most comfortable with, and we'll go from there. Where do we go, ladies and gentlemen? At 1 million, bit of optimism. Why not? I call it where you most comfortable. I'll take it there. At $1 million, probably somewhere with a 1 in the front. That's where I'm looking for. But I'll take you 1 million. Who's going to take me 1.1, ladies and gentlemen? At 1 is the call. Is the gentleman over there? At 1 is the call. At $1 million, where do we go? Call a 1 anywhere. At $1 million, I call it 3 times now. Once, twice. Third time I'm calling it a $1 million with you there. I'll move along with the vendor bid at 1.1. At 1.1, I'll tempt you back in for another 20. At 1.1, I have now the $1,100,000, so 20 on the knot of 1.120. At $1,120,000, still with the opening bidder. He knows the value. That's the way to go, sir. At 1.120, I have now. Who's going to take me to 1.140? At 1.120 now to 1.12. At 1.112, with the gentleman over there. At $1,120,000, are we all done, finished, and silent? Calling first time. At $1,120,000 to 1.12 is the current bid now. At 1.12 now, can I call a 40 anywhere? Are we done? Certainly not. Second time. At 1,140,000. 40, welcome to you, sir. 1.140, 60. There you go. Straight back, that's the way to go, sir. Can I call it 80 or take me straight to 1.2? At $1,160,000 with the opening bidder against you there, sir. At a 1.160, I've got here. At $1,160,000 against you, sir. Will you take me to 1.180? At $1,160,000, are we all done for the first time? At $1,160,000 against you, sir. Second call at $1,160,000. All done, finished, and signed at a 1.160 now. At $1,160,000. 70, we're rolling 10s. Welcome to you, sir, to 1.17. 80 now, sir. Against you, 90. 90 there, and 90 there, now 99 at 1.2. At a 1.2 on and off, third against you, and also you here. At a 1.2 square, 1.200. At a $1,200,000, what do you say? At a 210. At 210 there, 20. 30, even better, good bid at 1.23. At 230 now, sir. 40, at 40 here. At 40, what do you say? 50. At 125. At 125, sir. Shake your head the wrong way. This will get you the house. At 1.25. At 1.25 now to $1,250,000. If you've been to my auctions before, you know this is a signal. I don't need to go in for any instructions. The gavel is out. We are on the market and selling at 1.25. At $1,250,000 with the opening bidder. 60. There we go. 60. Almost, sir. At 126. 70 now, sir. 1.27. At 1.27, that's the way to go to $1,270,000. make it a 5. If that's easier for you, the 127 is the call. And at $1,270,000, are we all done, finished, and silent? 575, 80, sir. And a 1275, at $1,275,000 beats there. And a 1275, the same opportunity offering it to you, sir. You've been bidding strongly. I'll give you ample time to think about it. First call at $1,275,000. At 1275. Second call now at $1,275,000. 80, sir. 80. 80 now. 85, sir. 80 here. Who's the opening bidder? He holds the key. 85. 85 now, sir. 90. 1285. And $1,285,000. What do you say? First call at $1,285,000, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the market and selling at $1,285,000. Beats over there. All done, finished and silent. Sir, if you're not sure, just bid. 90, there we go. Against you then. 95, straight back, 3. 1.295. $1,295,000 over there. Against you here. Looks like just between you two. Just want to check, sir. Still in? I'll leave it to you on $1,295,000. There. Once now, at 1.295. 3 to 1.3. At $1,300,000. Against you there, sir. At 1.3 is the call. At $1,300,000.
305.
And 5, another 5 on top, sir, against you. What do you say? 5's not working. Try 10. Knock it out, you never know. To 1.305 to $1,305,000 is the call there. Looks like it's between you two, and unfortunately I can't imagine you two live together though. And at 1.305, first call at $1,305,000. Second call at $1,305,000. All done, all finished, all silent now at $1,305,000. 10. 310. At 310 now to 1.31. 3-1 against you, sir. At $1,310,000.
Another 5.
Another 5 at 15 now. At 1315. 1315. What do you say?
I say the sale's got a good price.
Well, you know what, sir? The more you pay, the more it's worth. But you will look back in 2 weeks' time and you're glad you made the decision today. With how the market's going at the moment, you know by the time you collect your keys from our office in Waverley, it's probably worth more already. At 1315 over there. Once at $1,315,000. Twice here. 1,315,000. Are we done? For the third and final call, $1,315,000. What do you say, sir? Waiting for your call. Are we all done, finished, and silent now to $1,315,000? Need to know, guys. I usually don't suggest this, but I'll take you 1,000. If they make it easy, I'm moving things along at 1.315. Here's the call to 1,315,000. All done, finished and silent. Can't be any fairer than that. Calling 3 times. First call. 1,315,000. Second call. At $1,315,000. All done, all finished, all silent now at $1,315,000. Need to know for the third and final opportunity. 1.315 to be fair for them. I need to know, guys. 1,315,000. Permission to sell then. Once, twice, 3 times I'm calling. 7. 1317. 20. 20 now, straight back. 1.32. 32 now. What do you say, sir? 320 is the call. You sure? I'll give you 3 calls to think about. $1,320,000 calling once here. Are we done? Second call at $1,320,000. Permission to sell, sir. At 1.32, third and final opportunity. 100% out and also here. Permission to sell. Thank you for being here today. Is going, and it's sold. Congratulations, well aboard. Commiserations to the other bidders. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for attending another successful Relay auction. Have a good afternoon.